think about technology stocks in general, which have been under pressure, Amazon being another great example, you've seen the shift into more economically sensitive names, energy, financials. Additionally, you've seen pressure on higher valuation technology stocks. Tesla is probably the best example with rising interest rates. Now, what I think is most interesting for Apple, which is something we talked about during the election, is that you're seeing the risk to Apple of a Biden presidency. What's that risk? Well, he indicated that he wants to pay his $3 trillion infrastructure bill by raising corporate taxes. And when you think about corporate taxes, Apple's probably one of the biggest taxpayers in the U.S. So those are the things I think that are weighing on Apple shares year to date and why it's underperformed NASDAQ.
So how much should investors look past it and consider this an opportunity?
So the real opportunity is 5G. And if you think about the 5G experience for Apple in 2020, it was about getting a faster processor mobile device into consumers' hands and letting them leverage their home Wi-Fi. So the good news is, as the vaccines take hold and as you have greater mobility and a greater build out of the 5G network, I think this is going to result to a different experience for the consumer and a positive one, meaning having a smarter processor on a faster wireless network. And the good news for Apple is there's still a lot of discretionary spend to go for Apple's products when you think about either elevated savings rates or the fact that consumers are still spending less money on travel or food away from home versus 2019. So I think the setup here on 5G is still excellent for Apple.
Tom, we could talk about 5G, and certainly that's such a big transformational, connectivity push, not only now but in the years to come. But the other piece for Apple, specifically the services piece, how big of a deal is it to see these fights, these legal fights right now over the App Store and antitrust scrutiny?
So it is important, and antitrust scrutiny for Apple, Amazon, Facebook, and Google is something we're monitoring closely. So if you think about Apple's advancement in services, and you think about essentially the revenue share for Apple with app developers or content providers, that could have a material negative impact on Apple's revenue growth in the future. I think, again, the good news, though, in 2021 and 2022, and likely 2023, is you have a multi-year cycle with positive unit growth for its most important product, the iPhone, from a revenue and profitability standpoint. So even if it has to give less or share less revenue with the content and app developers, selling more hardware may more than offset that.
Apple Car, is it going to happen? Is it a good thing long term?
I'm a believer that it will happen eventually, and I do think it is a good thing. When you think often Apple isn't the first to enter a market, but they find an opportunity to enter the market and make a premium product that's easier to use, things of that nature. So I do think long-term there's room for an Apple Car, yes.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.